Needlejuice Records. We're a record label that focuses mostly on physical media, mostly vinyl, but also CDs and tapes and 8 tracks and whatever else we feel like putting music onto that isn't a streaming service.
That's a Beetlejuice reference for astute members of the audience. Don't say it 3 times.
Yeah,
or we'll appear. That was the organizer's mistake.
Yeah, we're basically we're 3 internet friends who live in all different places. I'm from here, but he's in New York. He's in Colorado.
And Chase went here.
Yeah, I actually went here. They didn't. We kind of just started because we all have a love for music and physical media, and we basically started because we wanted certain albums that we really liked a lot on vinyl, and they weren't on vinyl, so we decided to put them on vinyl.
Yeah, like independently, I was listening to this album that we were fans of since we were kids, this Needlejuice record here, and I wanted to put it out, and I went to Chase and said, why is this not on vinyl? And then he just coincidentally had been thinking, well, why is this other album that we love not on vinyl? And so we, like the 2-headed snake came together and formed the monster that eventually realized our goals.
And he had basically been talking like, oh, you two should start a record label because you both make like similar kinds of music.
Yeah, so they both make psychedelic rock music. They each have a band. He's Nuclear Bubble Wrap, and you were Smashy Claw. Now you've got a new name.
I'm not important. Well, yeah, the series of events is basically, he was like for years like, you guys should start a label. And we're like, all right, Brandon, your ideas on starting labels, and then we're like, we should start a label. Brandon, did you know that we should start a label?
And the kicker is that even though we had set out to put these 2 things on vinyl, and we ended up being successful at getting these things out, coincidentally, a band that we like called King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, at this exact same time put out an album in the public domain, and they were like, hey, anybody can press this. So we started the label a little early, and this ended up being the first thing we put out.
We were one of the first people to jump on that record, and we sold it at cost. So we were like one of the most iconic pressings of Polygon Wonderland.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sold for like $10, and then people when I did the initial Reddit post telling people about it, they're like, why should we believe that this isn't a scam? And you're telling us it's cheap. And I was like, you don't know if it's a scam. Because you know in 6 months when we get the records.
So I do work for somebody else. My day job is I'm a computer toucher, a software engineer. So I love art, and I've always loved like music and art, but I've never been able to like dedicate my life towards that, just because it really wasn't in the cards for me. So it really makes me happy to be supporting artists and helping artists get their music out and helping people to discover these artists. And it is very, because I do a lot of like the logistics end of stuff, like making sure things get produced on time, or that like the artists have like all the artwork in for everything that we need to actually make these physical copies.
Spreadsheet.
Yeah, I have several gigantic spreadsheets.
We refer to him as the math guy.
And I kind of see the future, I can kind of like plan out, as you were saying, like you start seeing how you can plan things out. You can see like 20 to 30 years ahead, but me right now, it's just like, well, if I do these things in the next few years, we could be at this point and have so many more options.
Absolutely.
So I'm kind of getting a lot of enjoyment out of that planning process.
Yeah, I do kind of work for somebody else, but I don't also. When I'm not doing this, or when I'm not being in a band, I just do like Uber Eats and DoorDash, and I just deliver food all over the city, and but that gives me the freedom to be able to come home every day and focus a lot on this stuff.
If anybody wants Jace to pick them up Wendy's and then also bring a copy of All Down the Wall, man.
Yeah.
Well, this is sold out actually, so.
Yeah.
You can buy it on tape?
Yeah. You can still buy it on cassette if you're into that.
Jason's actually the only one who gets paid for doing Needlejuice stuff because he handles all of our shipping.
Yeah.
I do all the shipping. My house stores all of the stuff. So if I can't pay the rent, then
Lose the company.
you lose everything that we have and all the inventory.
We don't. Besides, paying Jace for the insane amount of work he does to ship everything, it's generally been a non-profit for us personally.
Yeah.
And then everything just feeds into making the cool stuff we want to put out. So what was the initial question?
What made you want to start your business?
Just to make things didn't see being proliferated elsewhere on this format that we've come to love so much.
Yeah, especially, there's like a lot of this stuff, especially like these three releases specifically were things that always had existed.
Oh yeah, anyway, no one's ever heard of this album. This is, it's called People's Choice Music. They did a poll online in like the 90s to decide what people like and don't like in music. And created two songs, the most wanted and the most unwanted song. And the most wanted song is this 5-minute, just by the numbers, with every kind of pleasing instrument you might think of. And the most unwanted is a 25-minute masterpiece of catastrophe.
You found my demo for me.
It's got bagpipes, it's got children singing holiday jingles and telling you to shop at Walmart.
It's got a lot of accordion.
Yeah, it's got political, like somebody screaming political buzzwords. It's got a
George Stephanopoulos.
It's got an opera singer rapping about the Old West.
And then we also just
This is sounding like the best song, actually.
Yeah, it is.
we just wanted to put out stuff that looked good.
Yeah, our big thing with vinyl is we want the records to have these really cool color configurations. So every release we put out has these insane little configurations. So here's one of my favorites is My Spring Memories album. It's got those three colors in the background of the front cover. So we took it and put those three colors on it. It's just one of those little vanity things kind of for us.
I think so our best-selling record by quite a bit is this where's Spirit Phone?
You're holding it.
Oh yes. I've listened to the album. I put it out. So this is the best-selling album put out by the Lemon Demon, who maybe is more well known for his mashup albums.
Potter Puppet Pals.
Neil Cicerega is his name.
Yeah.
And
He's a big Twitter guy.
Yeah.
what was I going to say about Spirit Phone? I was derailed by the fact that I was already holding the record.
It's our most successful thing.
Yeah.
It's the most
And we're like the only people who could have put this out because Jace already had like a pre-existing like relationship, like friendship, rivalry.
Kind of like a mild acquaintanceship.
Yeah.
He had a mild stalker syndrome with Neil Cicerega through his childhood.
Well, yeah, I was a big fan. Yeah.
It's very mild.
Yeah. Well, one thing that's kind of surreal, literally, is that we put out these albums on vinyl that we were actually listening to like as children.
Like this Logan record.
Yeah, like this.
Well, Logan Whitehurst died like 10 years ago before I got into this album, and then I, really love this album, and it's this really special mix of serious music and kind of comedic, all with heart and really genre-bending material.
It's kind of like They Might Be Giants.
And it really meant a lot to me, and to get to talk to Logan's father to put it together. I mean, it was pretty surreal. But the thing I was going to say about Spirit Phone is, to go back to us putting out color variations that we like, is that every time we wanted to press this to make more money, and we're like, well, it'd be cheaper to make black. Jace is just like,
No.
everything needs to have some insane color.
Yeah, it does. That's very important to me. But kind of an interesting thing is that we started like the very first thing that like Austin and I did together was putting out this Weird Al tribute album way back in 2011, and you could say that this thing was kind of the spiritual beginning.
Prototype.
Yeah, the spiritual beginning of Needlejuice and putting things out on a label.
So I guess to summarize.
To summarize the 20-minute diatribe, we wanted to.
On the back of this. Yeah.
That's more Neil's fault.
The word written is spelled incorrectly.
Yeah, I remember we saw that when it already was in the plant, and Neil was like, maybe they'll think it's a joke.
That sounds like something you could be like intentionally dumb. That's how you know it's not a fake.
Yeah.
And he went to school here in MTSU, so I had seen like through his band like the production stuff that he had learned, but I've never seen like the business stuff that he had learned until he started writing up like contracts to sign artists and license albums.
We just found a template. I mean, it's not that impressive.
I thought you wrote.
Well, I did take a class on contracts, but then I found a template and then I touched it up to what I thought was a good deal for us to pitch to artists.
Well, we were pretty lucky in that the first like chunk of time we just were very lucky. Getting the Logan Whitehurst and Most Unwanted Song licenses was a matter of asking. Then Polygon Wonderland was just dropped and anyone could jump on it. So we launched early. And then Neil said yes to Spirit Phone, which was a huge stroke of luck. So probably the first like actual mistake that we made was pressing too many of these. This is Misinformation Age by Aldrin. If you want, this is a fantastic album, by the way. If you like space rock and like proggy stuff, these guys are out of Denver, and they are about to like blow up. So they had like a PR company, and they had like all these plans for videos and stuff. So we love the band, and we really love this record. So we signed on to it. And
Well, I loved their previous record, and we didn't even know what this sounded like, but it luckily turned out to be a
all we knew was that they were making a new album.
So we pressed 500 copies of these, and it just I don't think the PR company worked as well as we thought. Whereas the reality is, if you're going to be doing like a smaller indie, like regional band, you need a plan to market it.
I think the overall thing here is, and something we continue to struggle with, is integrating the marketing with the bands themselves. Because I mean, what we're good at is making the physical thing and selling it on our website, but to get it out beyond that point, which that's been the difficult part.
Yeah.
Trying to figure that out.
Yeah, it's kind of like the minimum amount we can press at our record pressing plant is 250. So if we had done 250 of these, like we probably would have broken even on it by now.
Yeah.
But because we've pressed twice that amount, it's just kind of like this slow burn.
Yeah.
That we just have to learn from it.
Yeah, we have to either hope that people discover it, which is certainly possible, or you have to actively work to make it something that people want to listen to. And that's really like the next phase of Needlejuice is basically the kind of stuff that you two are doing. Like, we need to start making social media content, really like kind of make an integrated stack of content that like gets people interested in the bands themselves, like the people in the bands, and then you segue into the band's music with music videos, and then the top of it is the actual purchasable like record. That's
this is the first I'm hearing about needing sleep too, because we stayed up till 5 a.m. getting drunk and talking about Rick and Morty before. So I mean, really taking notes from everybody around here. What are we even doing?
Actually, that's how Rick and Morty got started. It came back as the creator got in a little bit of trouble for some of the things they did. But sitting around and just having a good time and enjoying really what you're doing and making for that.
Back to the Future.
Yeah, like creating it for the sake of creating is.
Yeah, because you know, at the end of the day, it's just a matter of us having the passion for this music. You know, we just have to help the artist get it out there and really coordinate it with the artist. You know, that like one of the mistakes we keep making is just kind of like the artist will like do something that like on their end of the marketing side, and we'll be like, oh, well, we didn't know you were going to do that. If we had known, we could have like coordinated this better. You know.
Yeah, but like you said, I mean, passion's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, we go back to Rick and Morty, which we can definitely talk for several hours on that. We practiced last night. I mean, Jan Harmon had said, passion is the most important thing. A good idea, anybody can have a good idea. It's passion for that and seeing it through. It's the most important thing.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. You should have said you said that. We would have all been like, whoa!
I would have believed it.
I said it. I did.
Just always.
So, no, that's good. That's right.
Mistakes.
What heck sort of math thing?
Oh, I graduated from the Rochester Institute of Technology in Rochester, New York, where I live, with a degree in computer engineering technology, which means I'm an engineer that's not good at calculus. But
sounded impressive till the end there.
I'm decent at calculus. But yeah. It's definitely given me a lot of the Excel experience that I needed to help do our books.
I love Excel. I go nuts for Excel. Learn Excel. I can say one thing. Go to any of our employees and say the word Excel and they'll scream and run away. I love Excel. It's fantastic.
Must excel at Excel.
But I think also coming from an engineering background has kind of like helped me think about it as like a process. So when Needlejuice first started, I was still like unofficially part of it. Like I had been involved in all the major conversations and everything, but I was still just kind of like an advisor. But then they were like beginning the process of getting this record together, and we hadn't even heard the whole thing at that point. But we had like a set date that the record had to be done because that was the release show where they wanted to have the records and sell them. So while they're like discussing all the minutia of actually, you know, like what the packaging stuff should be and like what the deal should be, I kind of started counting backward the date from the release show, and I realized like, oh, you know, if we want it out by that show, we need to have everything done in a week, which wasn't even feasible. The album wasn't even done yet. So
we had to push the release. The band had to push the release back.
Yeah.
And that would have been a conversation that would not have happened at all if I like hadn't kind of thought about it like from that standpoint.
I mean, it speaks to the lack of integration of the band that we were talking about before. I mean,
we were a little bit better about it with this record.
Yeah.
We just put this out. This is a local Nashville band called Flummox, and their release show was actually this weekend, which is why he flew down.
Yep.
And we were a lot better at it this time, actually making sure everything happened on time. Other than the cassettes, those weren't ready on time. But
and even Flummox, like we were kind of ahead, making sure like we sent out like press releases, and we have plans for the social media marketing that we're going to do now that we actually have the stuff to sell.
Yeah, the school. How about school?
Yeah.
How about that school?
Yeah, well, you know, I also have a degree in audio production, just like he does, and
one of us is obsolete.
Yeah, but as well as being in a band, I think you know, that training helps me not only in making music but also in assessing it to be able to put out here.
When you write your own songs, it helps to speak the language that helping the people put it up. And we harm that at school.
Schooling for me.
At Selden Record, we kind of overextended ourselves just because we loved the band so much, but through it, we found a lot of other local people who wanted to work with us.
Yeah.
It just grew the roster, even though we may have, I mean, it wasn't free, but we definitely invested a lot in it.
Well, I was going to say this is an interesting question for us because instead of people coming up to us asking if they can like buy a service from us, we go up to artists and we're like, can we invest thousands of dollars into your record? You know, basically gamble that that money will get returned, you know, months or years down the line. So you have to kind of juggle like gambles like the Eldrin record or the Flummox record or even, you know, because we had never done a Vaporwave record before, so we weren't sure how this was going to sell, and it sold pretty well, so we're very happy with it. But, you know, we're still trying to figure out like that perfect balance of taking risks on stuff that you have to try a little harder to sell and getting people to agree to like let us do known quantities like the Lemon Demon record.
Yeah, like we said at the beginning, none of us make a living off this label.
No.
It's just like
I don't make a living.
our biggest victory is that we've never had to invest our personal money in it. The records have always fed into whatever the next record is going to be.
Yeah, that's true. It's pretty crazy how it's gone off of its own momentum.
Yeah.
Like I put in a little money and I buy everything that we do. So I buy my own personal copies of stuff. But well, I've only had to put in like a tiny amount of cash.
Yeah, we also we aren't like we aren't too good for like Kickstarter. Like we've done a few records by crowdfunding it.
Yeah, like this, the Logan Whitehurst record and a record that we don't have yet that ships next month, Commodore Touchdown by TV's Kyle, who created the Cartoon Network TV show Mighty Magiswords, now canceled.
Yeah.
But
You kids in the audience,
yeah, but we launched both of those records on Kickstarter and they were both funded, so that's 2 for 2.
Yeah.